All right, so we are here. It's the new year, 2025, and we have a bunch of orders to do this week. I'm gonna take you guys through 3 of them today. This one is something it looks, I'm guessing for a dealership, something maybe go in the office, and you're, in the dealership. 2 street bikes, and then I really don't know what this is, but we're gonna do it anyways because it has to go out tomorrow. They're pretty simple, 2 4x6-inch prints and then a 12x12. These two actually go together. This is a separate order. So let's make them. I surprisingly don't do a whole lot of these 12x12s. I do a million of these 4x6s because they're a lot less expensive. 75 bucks for a 12x12, it's 25 for these. I used to not like doing these at all because it's just a less expensive product. You don't make as much, but they're so fast to do. And I can make a bunch of them at once if there's a bunch of orders. So sometimes what happens is customers will come in and order like 10 of the 4x6s for different reasons. We did one for a police academy this week, and so that's what's going to be probably tomorrow, is doing a bunch of police's. I don't even know what I'm saying. I have a ton of these to do this week, probably 15 as of right now. These 2 are for today. The reason I don't like doing these small ones is because they're not a good representation of the business, so they don't have frames on the back sides of them, and they're really just not that big. They don't show off the product that well. The reason I do them is because they're basically used as a sample so that when someone wants a larger print, they know kind of what they're getting. I'm gonna dig through here and find some new panels. If anyone's wondering why I don't use Beauty Sub, it's because these are all junk panels. They're not fully junk, but they're not going to customers. And so I usually dig through, find a new package. These are 12x12s, and this is what we're gonna use. I'm in the middle of switching everything over to Chromlux, but at the moment I have so much of this product left over from Beauty Sub that I'm kind of just using everything up because it still looks great as long as I get a good panel. The problem is, like, when I open up this packaging, there's 10 in here, right? So there's 10 panels. Of these 10, I might use, I don't know, 5. I might use 7, maybe they're all good, or I might use 2. So I really don't know. It just depends, and I'm sick of wasting money on panels that I'm never gonna use. And so that's why I have switched over to Chromlux for certain sizes, not all of them. And so, like I said, I'm just trying to use up all this material. And then once I'm done with it, as I run out and restock, I'll just switch everything over to Chromlux. Let's test and see how good this one is. So far, looks all right. Let's see. You never know till you pull the full thing off because it's usually the corners that are kind of messed up. They have like bubbling on the sides sometimes. Nope, see this one's no good. And if you guys could see this, I don't think you're gonna be able to at all, but I'll try to get real close for you guys. There's like almost some bubbling, like something got underneath it up here in this corner, and you can't see it without the lighting, but I have such bright lights in this shop, I see it immediately, and I don't like that, and I can't give that to a customer. And so, like, panel number 1 is no good. So then I'll move on to number 2, and as I dig through all these, I will finally find one at some point. If not, I've got 40 more of these left, and once these are done, once I've dug through and found the ones that I want, I'm completely done with these. Another thing I forgot to mention too is, like, this stack is $100. They're 10 bucks a piece basically after shipping, probably a little bit more. And so every time you toss one out, it's just wasted money. Now I can use these for videos and whatnot, and I probably will to an extent, but I can only use so many. I only make so many videos, and I'm not gonna make 40 of these. So it kind of is what it is. That's kind of like just the lessons you learn along the way and what I'm trying to share with you guys to help you kind of avoid some mistakes. If you're new early on and you want something a little less expensive than Chromlux, I would probably recommend using these just because they're still good quality, and the imperfections that you're gonna find are not necessarily as important when you're getting started. Where I'm at now, it's super important to me, and I don't want to keep having them, and so I just try to avoid it. But if you are getting started, Beauty Sub is the brand. That's the place where I buy these, and you'll get them for a lot less expensive, a lot cheaper price. They are from China, Beijing, so no matter where you are in the world, they can ship to you. If you're in the US, shipping is very expensive, all that. You're gonna have importing fees and whatnot, but it is what it is. It is one of the only options, and you either choose it or you don't. For any of you who don't know, I have a printing community linked in the description. If you join that and you want some of these blanks that I've peeled off but I'm not gonna use, I'll send you a pack of these for free. You just pay for shipping. You don't have to cover the costs of, I'll send you a 10 pack, which is $100 something, just pay for shipping. So I only have a couple packs, probably 4 or 5 at best, but a couple of you, if you want them, send me a message when you join the community, and if you're in the United States, I will try to send them to you. If you're not in the US, I'm not gonna send them to you because that's just kind of a hassle. I'm not gonna go through that. United States, join the community, I will send you a 10 pack, or roughly 8 or 9. I'm not really sure, it depends how many I have left. I also have a ton of these 4x8 inch, 6x6 inch, 8x8 inch. If any of you guys want them, I can send those to you for free as well. I dug through and found one good one so far after going through 3. I wish I could tell the company how much I don't like these, or that I wish they could just fix them and make them great, because this is the same place that I buy the frames from, for anyone wondering. They're called Beauty Sub. So it'd be nice if you could just buy the blanks and the frames from the same place, but that's just not gonna happen. They still make good frames though, for the most part. Again, you're kind of digging through some of them at times because they don't have proper cuts, but it kind of just is what it is. You can only do so much. There's only so many suppliers for these things. So you gotta kind of work with what you have. But this one looks good, I'm happy with it. Honestly guys, just take these off my hands so I can stop using them though, and so I can just switch over to Chromlux and be done with digging through them. If you're a beginner, they're great for getting started, especially because you're not gonna care about those little imperfections. They're gonna be good for just learning on and everything like that. So I would recommend, even if you don't get them from me, maybe buying them to begin with, or just going on Amazon and getting, whatever, something really cheap to start learning, because you're gonna get the reps under your belt for like printing and pressing, because you're gonna make a ton of mistakes in the beginning. You're not gonna get it right away. And so don't start with Chromlux when you get started. Nice part about this press though is that I can put all 3 in here at once, and I don't have to, go more than one time. You can see this top thing is super bent, and I don't know why, or maybe it's the handle that's bent. Either way, one of them does not look right. I had to adjust it a lot on top. You can see these knobs right here. I had to take a wrench and that shocked me. I had to take a wrench and adjust them to make it fit and sit down real flat. It works great now. Took a lot of adjusting in the beginning though. This stuff right here is just unwaxed butcher paper. You can see I already used it on a big 20 by 30, but since this is just outside here, this is the border print. This is why we go a little bit larger. You can fit more inside of here. Once I do these, I'll have to replace it because there'll be ink on the inside and it can transfer onto the next print. Something else I didn't show before I put it in, I did my logo on the back side here. And so you can see, just says Print Shed Fine Metal Art on the back, and it's just gonna heat press the exact same way as the front. So it's no different. You just print it out, put it on the back side, tape it on the same exact way, and you're good to go. Now I'm gonna take this, I don't really know what this material is. It's a moisture wicking fabric, but it feels very plasticky. Feels like, moisture would wick from it. And I just lay this over the top. I used to do this paper on bottom and put it over the top and not have this moisture wicking stuff, but I found that I was getting really bad outcomes with it. Basically, I was getting a lot of like moisture on the print when it was finished, and then I started using this and it would get rid of all the moisture and the prints came out really great. And so I don't know where to buy this material anymore because I don't even know what it is. It came with this heat press, but I also have, let's see here, this is moisture wicking fabric you can buy on places, I think like DTG Web or something like that, and it apparently works the same. I've never had to use it because this has lasted so long. I don't know if this gets ink on it or not. Basically, this stuff feels exactly like if you've ever done any landscaping or gardening, this is the stuff that you put under the mulch or the loam so that weeds don't pop through. This feels almost the exact same, maybe a little bit thinner, and it's white, not black. So that's 175, and that's just gonna go for 5 minutes. I got this package recently from, I don't remember where I bought it from, honestly. Does it say? Either way, these are Chromlux blanks. These are 4 by 8 inch, or I'm sorry, 8 by 12 inch. And so I was out of stock of these for a long time because I didn't want to buy any more from Beauty Sub, but they did have them on Chromlux. And so these are super highly requested. I sell quite a bit of these. The difference mainly with these is the front surface is a bit smoother with their coating. There's gonna be no issues on that. And the back side is a little bit shinier. It says Chromlux engraved all on it. And then the back sides always look a little dirty, but that stuff wipes off with like alcohol and stuff like that. So I usually wipe them down when I'm done making everything because I think it just looks a little bit nicer. You don't have to. The only thing with Beauty Sub is that you never really have to wipe down the back side. It's always clean. These are not. This must just be because from the shipping, maybe from the CNC machine when they cut them. I really don't know. Johnson Plastic Plus. Gonna need 4 of these for the square one. And then come over here, move this, oh, right here. This has little packs of the hangers for the 4x6. And then I go in this drawer and I pull out all the stuff for the corners of the frames. To dig through. There's a bunch of stuff in here, and then stuff like that. Put the screws in them. I'll show you here. Just gotta pull these out of here real quick, set them on the cooling rack, and then I can get back to building the frames. Kind of running around whenever I do this. I just multitask and do a couple of things at once. Normally, if I have a bunch of prints getting pressed, I'll just set them in here, build the frames while they're being pressed. Every 5 minutes, kind of run over and pull them out, set them on the rack, and put some more in. Okay. I try to be careful because I don't want to touch this top paper at all because it could smear it because it's still hot. So I try to just keep my hand under it and it works good. So this is a little corner piece. It just screws right in there. You put the screws in yourself and then it just goes in the corner and tightens up. So I'm just gonna take these 4 pieces here. I'm gonna lay them out. And then I take the piece with the screws and then I take this other piece that has no screws and they sit together and they just expand in the corners until everything tightens up. So let's see here, put it together. Building the frames probably takes the longest out of doing anything just because it's probably the most manual part of it all. And again, that is not a long process really. Unless you have to do a bunch of them, then it can take, I guess, a little while, but it's not too bad. Kind of get fast at it over time. You just start throwing them together, and the real key important part is to like make sure that the corners are all lined up nice and tight when you're done. And so also getting these to fit together here. There. So keeping them real tight when you screw it down is really important. So make sure that everything is flush and looks good. It's not always going to be perfect because they don't cut these perfect all the time. Sometimes they do. A lot of them are perfect, but not all the time, which can be kind of frustrating, but you have to deal with that. I just crank down each side one at a time, and then everything tightens up and it looks good. Also, after I do that, I just lay it on a flat desk. This table's not overly flat because this cutting mat's not flat, but I lay it down and then I make sure that the frame actually lays flat. It's not twisted or anything because it usually is, and you can just tweak it by hand. It's really easy. All right, that's all set. And so that's what it looks like. This goes on the back side of the panel. This is what sticks to it with tape. And this is the side that goes on your wall with a bracket. Sits, you can kind of see this little V probably. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little bracket that goes on the wall and then it sits right on that, like this. So I'm just gonna take this 3M foam tape now and I'm just gonna lay it over the back side. I kind of measure it out as close as possible and then cut it. And I've ran out of foam tape, so I gotta get a new roll. I have like 50 packs of these small rolls here and they don't have much on them because I think they're only 5 yards, but they work pretty good. I wish I could get something a little bit larger. I probably could if I reach out to the manufacturer and actually tell them the size I want, but on their website, this was all they offered. That's it, and then you just peel these tabs off. I'll show you when I put it on the back side. It's really easy to do. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is take this, it's called glassine paper, I think is how it's pronounced. And I'm basically just going to take these 2 4x6s here because we have a little bit left over. Actually, I'm just gonna do one of them. For some reason on both of these in the exact same spot, there must have been a little bit of plastic left on top of this print before I pressed it. and I didn't see it. It's on the exact same spot in both, which is odd that I even missed it to begin with. Or maybe I didn't, and maybe it's a defect. But there's a little bit of fading at the bottom, so I'm gonna remake both of these. That's not a problem. They're really not even noticeable, but I can see it in the light, and so we're just gonna redo it. That's kind of frustrating. I don't know what it is though, but it doesn't wipe off, it doesn't come off. The color's faded right there, so I'll just redo it. But for this one right here, this one should be fine. Yep, looks good. And so I'm going to basically take it and just lay it on top of that paper, and that's what's gonna go. It goes over the top so that it protects it in the packaging, so that it doesn't get scratched or anything, no dust or anything like that. Just sits in here, and then I fold every corner over and tape it to it so it holds tight. So once that's lined up, I try to go like, I don't know, an inch, 3/4 of an inch all the way around. This just allows it to fold over and look pretty good when it's done. So then after that, I take these two jigs that I had made, and they go in the corner here. And these set the frame 1 inch, or maybe it's 2 inches off of each end, it's 2 inches. And then it just lines it up perfect, so I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to measure anything. It just sits right in, nice and tight. And everything's perfect when it's done. I can peel one off, I can pull that off, pull that one, and that one, and it's all set. That frame is on, you just have to push it down a million times to make sure there's nothing, no air in between or gaps so that it peels off. I don't know what the odds are of this, but I just found another paper where those two prints I messed up were double printed because my printer had a mistake. Normally I always throw this away if there was a mistake, but they were fine, so I kept them for some reason. And this is the only time I've ever actually had backup, which is really nice. Both of those small ones are done, and these are just the hangers I put on the back. They're sawtooth hangers. I just make sure they're centered, lined up good, and they stick on really well. Adhesive, these are not coming off. And this is the back side where I put the logo, so you can see you can't peel that off or anything. That's printed right on the back. I have it centered. I don't know how well you can see these, but this is how they came out. These are the two small ones, the 4x6s. And then this is the final one right here. Again, nothing crazy, like I said in the beginning. I just wanted to show you some different options for printing that you might have, or the different things that I do. So this is more of a sign style. You normally wouldn't maybe print this on here. You'd probably go with a little bit of a cheaper option. But if you're in a dealership and you want something high quality, then I do think this looks really nice. It almost looks like an award. Well, it is an award, it says at the top, but it's not very specific. Either way, different option. I still think it looks pretty nice. And I'm gonna pack these up and get these sent out.